So welcome everyone to Meditation Mount, and to all those joining us online from around the world, and those listening to the recording later, which will be now for them. It's always now. So welcome to Meditation Mount. We're here to go through this process of being of use in the world through the power of thought and the power of our heart at the time of the full moon. So we are celebrating the full moon in the sun sign of Sagittarius, and yet the moon itself is full in Gemini. And we'll explain more of that later. So in order to prepare the field, I would invite us just to take a few slow, deep breaths. Breathing in a sense of peace. And as we breathe out, just let go of any tension that may be held in your physical body. And then breathe out any tensions you may be holding in your feelings, your emotional body. If the waters are slightly troubled, allow them to become calm, still, like a pond with no ripples. And then breathe out any tensions or any extraneous thoughts that may be swirling in your mind that are standing in the way of you being fully present. Just breathe them out. And then bring our focus now to the heart center. This is the core of our being. And the word itself, core, is the Latin for heart. Courage, the core. And visualize inside your heart at the very center a flame. This is the fire of love, a spark of which lives in every atom of creation, in every human heart. So now let us link heart to heart to heart with all in the auditorium here, all gathered online in virtual space. Visualize these many, many hearts across distance, weaving together a matrix of community and communion through lighted lines of love. And then we join also with those other groups and individuals around the world who are utilizing this time to align, to receive, to register, and to radiate the particular energies that are available at this time to further the evolution of human consciousness. And then just take a few moments to live into this reality that we're part of. Each one of us is a sacred fractal of this one life. And it's love that is the glue that binds us and holds us all together. So now we've created our field in which we will do the work. And Kelly Jean is now going to use her musical gifts to set the tone, literally to set the tone and paint a picture through sound of the energies of Sagittarius. Thank you, Kelly Jean. Beautiful. Sagittarius. Clear choice. Decisions. Moving from one point to a higher point. So before I talk more about Sagittarius, the solar sign that we find ourselves in now, I want to just remind us of these are not just individual separated signs. They're part of this great rhythm throughout the year. And those of you who were here last time know that we went deep into Scorpio. Scorpio was a water sign. And we talked about the labor of Hercules, which was lifting the Hydra out of the mud into the air. And we named some of the heads of the Hydra that have to be overcome, like physical comfort, money, sex, pride, ambition, hatred, separateness, cruelty. You get the picture. It's sort of our lower nature. It has to be overcome. And the way that Hercules did that was to kneel in humility and lift it up. And when something that has been hidden in the mud is raised into the light of day, it loses its power. And that's prepared us for Sagittarius. So Scorpio is a water sign. Now we come to fire. Sagittarius is about a fiery awareness and a clear choice of where we choose to go with this experience of having overcome the Hydra. And let's say, right here and now, there's still more work left to do in Scorpio. It doesn't like, right, that was last month, now we're clear. Because it said that Scorpio rules the path of discipleship. So anybody who steps on the path and said, yeah, I want to help, I want to be of service to our planet, their lives are ruled by Scorpio. It's not a punishment. It simply says that this sign allows us to perfect our instrument. And it's an act of kindness. And as my friend says to me, sometimes my kindness may not feel very nice to you. So it's what one of my teachers used to call the unpleasant good. So here we find ourselves in Sagittarius, which we will explore later. But Sagittarius, through its power of choice, sets us up for the next sign, which is Capricorn, which is an earth sign. Capricorn is the mountain. So we've gone through Scorpio, we've made a choice. We're going to ascend the mountain in Capricorn. It's an earth sign. And it's the symbol of the goat climbing the mountain until it reaches the top. And then the two-horned goat is transformed to the single horn of the unicorn. And the unicorn, if you like, is the third eye, which connects us with the light of the cosmos. That's when we become illumined. And then Capricorn then says, but you can't stay on the top of the mountain forever. And then we go into Aquarius and Pisces, and these are the two signs of service. So once there is the illumination on the mountaintop, guess what? Bring the light down into the valley. So Aquarius is an air sign. It's called the waters of life, but it's not the emotional waters. It's the waters of life, the higher correspondence. It's an air sign. And then we come to Pisces, which is the sign of service and the saving force, as it's called, where we have to redeem the shadows that we've created, and we have to be part of the saving force of the planet. So I wanted to name this because you get a sense of the rhythm. It isn't just, oh, right, now it's Sagittarius, next time. They're all connected. And then that's the end of the 12-month cycle. And guess what? We start again in Aries, which is a fire sign. And Aries brings the fiery seeds of the new into the ethers. Guess what? Taurus is next. It's an earth sign. So the light of the heavens enters the earth. And then Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, quickens the seed. And then it's placed in the watery womb and the birthing chamber of Cancer. And then Cancer allows something to be born, and then it starts to individualize and to find its strength in Leo, which is all about self-assertion. So I just wanted to remind us that we're part of this amazing procession of the signs And we are Hercules. Hercules is the soul. So I'm not talking about a person with rippling muscles and is a male body. Hercules represents the soul. So each of us journeys through these different opportunities for growth because we're here to learn, to grow, and to serve together. That's the whole idea. So that was a little preamble. I hope it wasn't too long. So here we are in Sagittarius, which is a fire sign, as we've said. And let me read you a couple of things about it. The symbol of Sagittarius is the archer. And we'll go into why this is a powerful symbol and how it utilizes the tension created by the poles to move forward. So the Sagittarian motto is, I see the goal, I reach that goal, and then I see another, which is what the archer does. The archer has one pointedness and direction, and then the arrow is loose towards a chosen goal. And then you go to where the arrow landed, and then off you go again. You've reached that goal, and then you see another goal. So it's a continuous striving towards a chosen state of being, which could be being more loving, being more compassionate. So it's whatever choice you need to make. This is a great time to make clear choices through an act of will, because it's a fiery act and we're in a fire sign. So the Ageless Wisdom teaching, we're always quoting from the Ageless Wisdom teaching, we usually draw upon the works of Alice Bailey and sometimes Agni Yoga. There are many other branches to this ageless teaching. It says there's a fire in Sagittarius. There's a special kind of fire. So let me quote, the planetary fire which produces eventual revelation to the purified person who stands in the light. This simply means once we've gone through the tests of Scorpio and once we have gotten clear, the fire of Sagittarius allows us to see more clearly. And when you see more clearly, you can choose more clearly. It's pretty straightforward. Everything's straightforward. It's just that, like last week I was thinking about attachment. Michael, you came into this world with no possessions. You're going to be leaving this world with no possessions. So what's all the problem in between? So let's have a look at what the archer represents. So if you imagine the archer herself has to stand with feet apart for stability and stand upright, which is like a triangle. So what you're doing is using the tension of the two poles to reach a point of synthesis. That point of synthesis is the goal. So when you think of a bow, the bowstring is attached to the two ends of a single piece of wood, just as the positive and the negative are part of the same continuum. So these two poles are not separate. They're like their unity stretched apart in order to recreate itself. So the one uses the two to create the three. That's part of the teaching in the ancient science, which we're not going to go into now. There's so much here. I am doing my best to stay focused, which is an attribute of Sagittarius. So what happens when you see the target? What you have to do, you have to steady yourself, ready yourself, and then you hold your hand steady, and with the other hand you pull back the bowstring. And there is a point of tension when it's the right point of tension to loose the arrow. It's the right point of tension and in the right direction at the right time. And then you loose it and off the arrow goes. And depending on how true your sight was and how true your aim was, that will come true. So this is one of the symbols that I find very easy to understand. It's how you use the tension in a creative way. It seems to be so simple, and which is why Zen and the art of archery, when you understand, when you see, particularly from Japan, you see the archery there, it is really symbolizing how we utilize the energies of Earth to move us forward on this path of evolution. So let me read a little bit more here about how Sagittarius is described in these teachings. Sagittarius is associated with intuition, and the arrow is called the shaft of light because it pierces the darkness and reveals. This is the shaft of the arrow of aspiration and inspiration, which then returns to the sender as the arrow of intuition. So when we are clear about what we aspire to and loose the arrow towards that goal, when it hits the target, it comes back to us as an arrow of intuition. Intuition is simply knowing what is and what needs to be done in the moment. So we often talk about the energies associated with a sign. So with Sagittarius, the exoteric or the outer ruler of this sign is Jupiter, and it carries the gifts of expansion and the beneficent methods of evolution and unfoldment on the secondary path of love wisdom. So that's what Jupiter does. It's jovial by Jove. This is Jupiter. That's where it comes from. It's a very loving, wise energy. And the esoteric ruler or the inner ruler of Sagittarius is the earth, which provides a third ray energy of active intelligence, which allows the one-pointed seeker to move from point to point on the pathway of intuition and achievement. So it grounds it. So we talked before about the motto. I see the goal, I reach that goal, and then I see another. And I ask your indulgence here because I want to say that I've often joked with my golfing friends that Sagittarius actually rules the game of golf. And I've used a slightly different, an amended motto. I see the hole, I reach that hole, and then I see another 18 times. So every time that we find ourselves under the influence of Sagittarius, it's about reorienting to a higher objective and choosing something that is of greater depth as far as life purpose. So this is what I called fiery striving. It's how we move forward. And the striving is responding to the impelling and compelling pull of life itself. It's not somebody telling us what to do. Life is saying, I want to express. You're part of my expression, so get with the program. So we're talking more than just personal ambition or personal goals or personal aspirations, because at the moment we stand at a critical point in human history, and we together have to make a choice, utilizing the energy of Sagittarius. We can either keep rooted in greed and selfishness and go down that rabbit hole, which is going to lead to disorder and chaos and the dismantling of all that is good and true, or we can choose to work together to build something new that is based on the principles of caring and sharing. So it's not just what am I going to do in my life, it's like we as humanity are facing an incredible choice point now. And I don't need to sort of go into that, we all know it. And that choice actually begins with each of us making that individual choice to be part of a greater solution. So that's why it's a great opportune time here today in Sagittarius to do that together. So let me offer one more quote from Esoteric Astrology by Alice Bailey. And it talks about the gift of Sagittarius. There come flashes of light upon problems. A distant yet possible vision of attainment is seen. The person begins to climb out of the depths to which they have descended in Scorpio and sees ahead the mountain in Capricorn, which they know must eventually be climbed. The person walks no longer in the dark, for they see what has to be done, and therefore they make rapid progress and travel fast upon the way. The seeker flies from point to point, searching for the arrow of aspiration which have been discharged. So it's sort of summation of what we've just been talking about. So just to bring this to a conclusion, so one of the major underlying themes in Sagittarius is that of goal and direction, as you've gathered. And there is no direction apart from thought, because thought is the great creator. Heart is where we hold the vision and have a sense of what needs to be born, but it's thought that is the tool of creation. And therefore we need to remember the occult maxim, energy follows thought. There are no idle thoughts. Everything we think is a creation. And because sometimes we think something and don't give a lot of potency to it, and it loses energy very quickly, it evaporates, it bursts like a soap bubble. But we know when we are focused on something with our mind and engage our heart, we can create really good things together. So it's important to know that this personal choice actually unleashes energy, and together we can become that positive force for good in the world. So just one more small quote before this is completed. Sagittarius is called a beam of directed, focused light. And it says, in this, the point of light becomes the beam, revealing a greater light ahead and illumining the way to the center of the light. So our goal is basically to come home, is to find our true self. And then we step into the light of our true being. It's just an internal light. But until we've reached that internal light, we use I have a flashlight. I got one on my iPhone. I use it all the time. That's just a temporary aid until we are ourselves illumined. So let's repeat the motto again. I see the goal, I reach that goal, and then I see another. So those are the words that come to mind as preparation for the field. And I'd like to hand over to Diana to actually expand on some of the astrological insights because of your gift, and then lead us into the meditation, because apparently this is quite a time on the planet which you're going to... So over to you, Diana, and I'll go mute for a while.
Yes, it's a doozy of a time, in case you haven't noticed. I think so. Can you hear me? Maybe I'm not turned on. I'm here. Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay. It's not that loud? Okay. Well, I will speak louder. Here it comes. Okay. So, this is the chart, which you can't see, but it's got a big T-square in it. So we have a very intense time right now. While you were talking the whole time, I was thinking about when I got monovision, one eye for far, one eye for close. Some of you may have that. And I used to have the perfect aim. I could get, from 50 feet, take a rock and hit a can and all that kind of stuff. And when I got monovision, I couldn't do that anymore because my eyes weren't working together. And so I went to my teacher, my spiritual teacher, and I was telling him about that. And he said, let's practice. And so I kept missing the mark and missing the mark and missing the mark. And we had this bullseye and we were doing it with slingshots and all different things, And I kept missing the mark. And I finally, because I'm intuitive, right? I went like this. I had my little slingshot and I went, saw the mark, turned and shot. Then I could get it. And it was amazing to me because I was literally looking away from the thing. So I'd spot it and move away, because if I looked, it would just go off to the side because my eyes weren't lined up. So it reminds me of that, like, that thine eye be single, and you don't even need to look with your eyes. You can feel it, you can sense it. So what's happening right now, is a lot of intensity, as you know, and we are in the middle of a big, big change. And as Michael said many times in his conversation, it's a lot about right now choices. What choice do you make? What decision will be around whatever it is, right? The world's making these decisions in countries, in politics, in businesses, in the economies, and in our personal lives. In every way, are being asked to make a choice of some kind. The full moon is in Gemini, right? So we've got we're working with the solar energy of Sagittarius, but the full moon is in Gemini, which is about choices. What do you choose, this or that, right? And coming into that clarity, one of the things that could happen in this meditation is you might get some clarity about something you're working on, something you've been thinking about lately, something that you're holding, that you will come to some deeper understanding and then be able to do that, right? That loosening of the arrow of your action matching with your intention. So astrologically, Sun's conjunct Mars, if you know anything about that, that's action, 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 go, 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 now, now, now. Opposing the moon, squaring Saturn. You have to be right. You have to do it perfectly. If you make any mistake at all, you'll know it almost instantly. It's the taskmaster of the horoscope, is Saturn, what your purpose is, what your work is, what time, how much time you have, deadlines, Saturn, right? So there's this intensity and particularness about this full moon that we really have to kind of work hard and stay focused. And we will. And the other thing is that Neptune is squaring Mercury. Exactly. So this could be delusional, self-delusion, not telling the truth to yourself. You've got to tell the truth to yourself right now because of this particular aspect. It's very important, but then almost being confused about what's even true, right? Or what is this true or that true? And hearing so many points of view and feeling sort of not clear about, what's right to do. So I'm thinking we use this full moon to gain clarity. That each one of us, that we come to some clarity inside ourselves about next steps, growth, spiritual growth, personal growth, in all the different ways. I wrote, the title of this to me was the big choices ahead, big decisions ahead that we have as a whole world that we'll be working on. And the Sabian symbol for 5 Sag is an old owl up in a tree. These are things to ponder, things to meditate upon. An old owl up in a tree. Well, owls are always about wisdom and about that divine deep intelligence. And about 360, right? They can see in every direction. And deep listening, deep seeing. So that will be in the quality and the atmosphere of this meditation, is to use that energy as we go into it. Last month, we worked on Scorpio, solar, Taurus, full moon, and it was, I called it the burning grounds. So things had to fall away, things had to burn off that weren't necessary any longer. And now we're ready for a next step again, and that's what we're choosing, right? So those are some of the things that could talk for a year more about this, but it's enough. And then we'll go into the meditation, and we'll use some of these things within it, and whatever sort of stood out to you to work with, you use it as, see what happens inside the meditation. What can you gain clarity about? Like really deep clarity, deep understanding, something where you go, oh, that aha moment you could have. And the full moon is exact tonight at 1:17 a.m. And so if you touch it again, like just before you go to sleep, you'll kind of pick up that energy. It could be a whole 24, 36 hours, really, that you might be downloading what this meditation even is. So let's do it. So maybe just if you need to move for a minute, go ahead and do that, because I know we've been sitting for a while. Also, just while we're sitting here, the next full moon is going to be on December 26th, the day after Christmas. So that'll be interesting. And it's going to be an exact time full moon at 4 p.m. So we're going to do it at a different time. So some of you that like to come here always, it's going to be at 4 o'clock, not 6 o'clock next month. So I'll just drop that into the mix too. All right. Okay, so come on in. So one of the things that I do as an intuitive and a sensitive and a meditator and a teacher and a beer is I like to talk to other beers, meditators, feelers, intuitives, because you guys, we feel these energies more than anybody. You're feeling them times 10. And I think that part of the function of the full moon, and working with full moon and new moon energies, actually, new moon even more sometimes for sensitives, but full moon is where the action is, right? The new moon is backstage before, full moon is it becomes, right? So you're working with what's becoming. When we meditate together as sensitive beings that are awake and aware, we get to sort of run the energy first. And so that energy that's coming in hot and fast and bright and white comes through our vehicle, our consciousness, and sort of we condition it as it hits the ground. And so you'll find as sensitive people sometimes that you're feeling things before other people do. And so people will ask you, how are you? And you're like, I don't know. I'm feeling this. And they're going, I'm great. And then like 3, 5, 10 days later, bum, 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 that energy's hitting the ground, right? And so part of our function as energy holders and wielders and users and conditioners is to take that energy, let it go through the vehicle of our consciousness that is built in some complex, unique way, each one of us, that helps run the energy so that it hits the ground softer, so that it can be used more easily and more naturally to our communities that are around us, our neighborhood. Your energy affects your neighbors. Your energy affects your garden. Your energy affects the traffic, right? We're affecting everything all the time because everything's energy. So we're going to go in with that energy and condition this full moon energy as like an offering, see? That's why it's a world service meditation. So when you're ready to get comfortable, and just however you are, it's ideal to have the spine straight so that the chakras are aligned. There's a lot of other things about that, but just as the spine is up and down, it's a cleaner line, like a circuit. Think of it like a circuit from crown to base. And just take a few breaths, just kind of managing and conditioning your own vehicle, your own body from the energy of the room and the energy of each other, and blending our energies together too as a united heart and a united consciousness that we are a one life, knowing that there are millions of other people meditating right now with us all around the planet. And so heart to heart, you feel that complex interweaving all around the world. And breathing through your heart chakra for a few moments, take a few breaths here and feel yourself come into that centered heart, that calm heart. relaxing the body, relaxing the heart, and most profoundly relaxing the mind, harmonizing body, heart, mind, harmonizing body, heart, mind with soul. And even as I say the word soul, feel the crown chakra open and feel the presence of the overlighting soul. Om. And taking your seat then in the head center for this meditation, as you begin to, through the soul, which is like the grand translator of all these energies, feeling your connection, and that alignment continues up and up and up, or higher and higher vibration through the masters and teachers and the ones that have come before us, through the heart of the sun, all the way to the heart of Sirius. And if you can sense your own heart center and the center of the heart of mind and the center of the heart of soul, through the heart of the masters and teachers, through the heart of the sun, through the heart of Sirius, you can feel this uplifting circuit of energy, of divine intelligence and divine love. And just feeling that crown chakra be open through this meditation, to be impressed by this full moon energy, conditioned by your own consciousness now. And in a moment, we're going to go into the silence for some time, about 10 minutes, where you can be in that deep space of the meditation. And so when you're ready, just taking this idea, this seed thought, into the space, like it's the door that we're opening in this particular full moon. Thinking of some of the concepts of the archery and true aim and clarity of these big decisions and choices that are everywhere around us and within us, that we come to clarity now with this seed thought. As conscious souls, we step up to the tasks ahead in calm, clear awareness. As conscious souls, we step up to the tasks ahead in calm, clear awareness. clarity, letting this bright, clear, white energy move through you. And like you're a vessel now, you receive this light. You receive this clarity. Inside the container of that calmness of your consciousness. And as that light is received, you get brighter and brighter, so that every single atom of you is vibrating with this light. That you are light in form. I am light in form. And so, I am light informed. And allowing this process now even more, so that you're so bright, like a diamond, emanating this light through your body, through your heart, through your thinking, through your creations. And imagining now this light in a radiance around you. So by etheric eye, this building would be bright. And leaving this opening for understanding and for more clarity and more light and whatever the subjects of the day are within you and without you. Letting this light collect. And as it does, you begin to radiate like become radiant, as if there's a halo. And then just using your breath now to organize yourself to this new place that you are. To organize yourself into this, with this light. As it becomes you, it is you. Good. And then we'll use the great invocation to seal this meditation, followed by 3 ohms. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into all human minds. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into all human hearts. May the coming one return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills, the purpose which the wise ones know and serve. From the center, which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth.
So holding this energy that we have generated, because we are light generators. We receive light, we register, we generate, we radiate. So we are going to complete our meditation by sending out these blessings of light to the world as arrows, shafts of light. Becoming aware that energy follows thought. Wherever our thought goes, we send light. And light informs, it densifies into the concrete forms of the world around us. Forms are densified and condense light. So let us begin by seeing the vision of a world living in harmony with itself and with all living beings, both visible and invisible, that make up this multi-dimensional ecosystem we call planet Earth. It's this light-filled vision that we will send out into the ethers, allowing new possibilities to infuse the global mind, the global heart of our one humanity. And we will shoot this fiery arrow of group aspiration 3 times by sounding the Tibetan bowl. And as the bowl is sounded, we loose this arrow of a new vision, a light-filled world into the ethers. And we see it dispelling the darkness of ignorance, of separation, and giving birth to something that is a more perfect union of our hearts. So let us focus in the heart and with the collective mind this vision of a future that is more just and joyful. And then with the ringing of the bowl, let's send out this as a light-filled shaft of new possibility. Taking another deep breath, we hold this vision clearly in the mind and we project it out into the ethers. And seeing this vision impress itself upon the global field of consciousness of our one humanity. And for a third time, to seal the deal, we send out this shaft of light containing the promise of a soul-inspired society, a world based on caring and sharing. And we know that it is so. So let's bring ourselves gently back to this room, and those of us who are linked around the world through our live streaming, bring yourself back to this present moment, realizing that we have the power to create a new world together. It's our God-given right to be co-creators. So, on behalf of Meditation Mount, Joey, who is doing the technical work, Kelly, doing many things, including the music, and then the people who greeted you, Barbara, Jody, Lee, others, Diana, myself. Thank you for participating in this planetary ritual of service, realizing that we are the force for good in the world. So may this time of Sagittarius bring greater clarity to each of us, and may our choices in the world give birth to these hope-filled dreams. So, namaste, everyone.
Namaste.
Thank you so much.